and sponsors Medima for Herbal Clinic, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, Jagafor Bitters, Givers Co and P Capsules, Niche Chocolate Drink, Max by Techno, and of course Lucky Win. But don't forget, we are making you fishers of money out there, and we'll be telling you why, because it's mega cash promo time right here on the Unity Cup 2025. We'll be telling you you can be a beneficiary of loads of money, plus of course other branded items we have right here. Once again, many thanks for joining us. In a matter of minutes, we'll be crossing over to the city of Brentford, the GTech Community Stadium, where we will see how Ghana and Trinidad and Tobago bounce back from the losses in their first encounters. And see whether they can claim superiority in the third place. The final match, as you know, will be between Nigeria, who have won the Unity Cup once, and Jamaica, who have been runners-up before in this competition. So definitely there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to cheer. It's a marathon of international football. Do stay with us right here on Max TV as we bring you nothing but the best when it comes to association football. I have my guest in the studio, seated, ready and eager to share their thoughts, their expertise, and to take a sneak preview into what to expect, especially in the match for third place, which is the matter of contention for now. Let me quickly introduce my guest in the studio, one you know because you see his face every day on this platform. Josiah Oko Aye is one of my guests here today. He's a football pundit and, of course, shares a lot of the platforms with you viewers out there. Then, of course, we've got a sports consultant. We've got a researcher. We also have a coach who dabbles in fitness and nutrition. Vincent Abiu is our second guest for this morning's encounter. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay. I'm trying to get my guests to smile. They're not smiling, obviously, because it wasn't a very good day at the office for the senior national team, the Black Stars. But all hope is not lost. Let me start with you, Coach. What did you make of the Ghana game? Of course, we'll be sharing the highlights with our viewers in a bit. But from your perspective, how did you see that game, Ghana versus Nigeria?
I think it was a very difficult first half. Was very difficult.
It was.
Within the first 3 minutes, it looked as if we were in control. Just after 5 minutes, Nigeria took control, and almost everybody who loved the game got confused. Especially after the first goal, we felt like there was going to be an avalanche of goals. And you know, when it comes to Ghana and Nigeria, you want to protect your record.
Sure.
You know, the last time was in London when we beat them by 4 goals to 1.
Yeah, 4
that
goals
was the
to 1.
Stephen Appiah.
Exactly.
So we want to keep that record. And after beating them at the World Cup, you feel like that rivalry should be kept. Then all of a sudden, you are being outrun, you are being outplayed. Yeah. Then you start thinking, what is going to happen? You start playing what was going to happen on the day to our players, because they were out of position. They couldn't react very well. They couldn't respond very well. So I felt very uncomfortable. At a point in time, I think I have to take a little bit of walk to see whether, because as a coach, whilst you are watching, you realize that what is happening, if it really wants to happen, then we might be going down like 4 goals in the first half. Yeah. Because at a particular point, we've not seen, they've not seen their goalkeeper. We kept seeing our goalkeeper in action, and our defenders keep on making mistakes.
Sure.
As far as that few mistakes from Razak, I feel like, is he going to get his mindset back? So it was a moment. As much as the national team has not been there, we've not been that bad like the way we saw in the last 45. Yes. Even though we've not been there as a team, it has never been bad to the way we saw the first 45 minutes. So I think that was a scary moment, but they made amends in the second half. And they came back into the game, and we saw at least a glimpses of a Ghanaian team trying to do something on the field of play.
Sure. I couldn't agree with you more. Josiah, you watched the game from a distance, and one of the few things I noticed after the game was that Ghanaians, both here and those in the diaspora, at least the stories that we monitored, were not too sad for the performance of the Black Stars. Like Coach rightly said, first half was not nothing to write home about. But the second half, they seem to have corrected their mistakes. They put the passes together. We saw a lot of cohesion in the second half. I don't know what you think.
Friends, I just think as far as the performance is concerned, then Ghanaians are in unison, with the same voice that it was a good performance. Because even the technical advisor to the Ghana Football Association also spoke, later, and he was like, yeah, they enjoyed the performance, but then not the result. Because when you come up against Nigeria, friends, regardless what the sport is, you would want to win, especially
there's
Ghanaian.
nothing
There's nothing friendly. A friendly game against Nigeria. So I think Ghanaians understood that it's a friendly game. Even after the game, we realized that the performance was okay. So that was what we took solace from. I think that was a consolation. We wouldn't have wanted to lose. But friends, I think one of the positives from the game we played against Nigeria was the fact that we had 4 local players starting. And I don't recall the last time this has happened, either in a friendly game or even in a competitive game. We've never seen as many as 4 local-based players start for the Black Stars of Ghana. So, in that regard, Prince, I think that's one of the positives. But then you look at how we started the game, and I feel it was lethargic from the boys. We could have started better. And when you have a goalkeeper in Benjamin Asari, we all know that one of his strengths has to do with organization at the back. So you could just pinpoint the fact that the communication between himself and the 2 centre-backs on the day, in the first 30 minutes, Prince, wasn't good enough. And I believe that was where we lost the game. If the concentration levels has been, at the very top, I think we could have kept the Nigerians at bay because they started with some quality up front. We believe that the strength of this team has to do with our defense and then the midfield. So that was where we lost the game. The first few minutes of the game where we lost concentration was where we lost the game. But then it was good seeing the boys step up their game in the second half. They just pushed the gear up and they started to, play with some rhythm and some sort of confidence. But unfortunately, we just couldn't win. But then, friends, lots of positives for me. I just believe, despite the fact that we lost to Nigeria, we lost the Jollof Derby. Yeah, there are many more Jollof Derbies to come. But then let's look at the positives, and I believe that we still have more room for improvement.
There's still more room for improvement. That's what a lot of the Ghanaians believe, and news monitored from the camp even has it that they were all in good spirits after the match when they got to the hotel. Yes, it was a game that we lost. Yes, it was against our super rivals, the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And as Coach Richard told us after the game, 140 million Nigerians were content that the Nigerians eventually beat Black Stars by 2-1. Well, that's some amount of consolation. We'll be heading to Brentford now to take a look at the highlights of the game, Ghana versus Nigeria. Like Coach Abiu rightly said, awful first half, but we managed to claw back some pride in the second half, and at least we got a goal that was enticing enough, and a lot of people thought that we were going for the kill and go for the penalty shootout, but alas, it was Nigeria's day.
Alimi released down the left. Side flag, it hasn't come, and anywhere will do. Layoff didn't quite work for Barbonsu, the new debutant, and suddenly there is room here. Advantage played by referee Stuart Atwell. Desser in the middle was the target, but it is cut out by the 19-year-old debutant Aaron Essel. Alimi released down the left. Side flag, it hasn't come, and anywhere will do as it's thumped clear. Oh, mistake at the back from Simpson. Desser, was he fouled? Well, apparently not. The Nigerian fans behind that goal thought so. Real scare for young Raz. Simpson's mistake originally here, and then after he slipped, well, yes, it was an accident, the slip, but it's still upended. Cyril just been telling Chukwueze and Onyemaichi what he wanted out of this free kick, and that might be it. Well, the flag's gone up. That wouldn't have counted even if it had gone in. Battling at it here, and Ismaila has won it really well. Awkward cross here. Desser! Nigeria lead! Cyril Desser in front of the Super Eagles fans. And into the Super Eagles fan. the Nigerian hero. Just look at Sadiq Ismaila here, coming in to win it. One thought in his mind, get down there, get a yard of space. The slip from Razak Simpson is costly, and Desser took advantage. Great work from Ismaila. And a very composed finish. Cyril Desser, who scored against Ghana last year for his second Nigerian goal, has done it again here for it. Should have won it against Lille, who went on to do so well.
We're bringing you snippets, highlights of the game between Ghana and Nigeria. And of course, we all realize that that first half was a first half that we would all want to forget as early as possible. 2 goals to the good for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We all, accept the fact that there were a couple of mistakes at the back. Razak Simpson, not a very good day for him, especially in the very first half. Much better improvement in the second half. Coach, from the highlights that we're watching, we all attest to the fact that there were a few slops, a sloppy marking in the defense. Was it something that we could have avoided, or would you also say that the quality of the pitch vis-a-vis the ambience maybe got to Razak a bit too much, hence the minor mistakes we saw?
Yeah, I think that was one of my main points on this show today.
Okay.
It is the reason why we need to improve upon our pitches. This is
very important.
This is a hybrid pitch, and hybrid is made up of grass and rubber. It's intertwined.
Okay.
It's intertwined, about a million sort of rubber, so that you get that mixture of play. So it's a little bit of natural grass.
I see.
Good grass. So and what it does is the ball is quick and faster. So your reaction and action, if you are not careful, will not be opposite like science says it.
Yeah.
So you must either have a perfect reaction than your action. So on this type of pitches, the reaction is faster always than the action. It doesn't go with the science definition of reaction. So if you see a player like Razak moving from here all of a sudden and playing such a pitch, the game was quick. Look at how fast the ball was crossed.
Yeah.
So assuming it was our type of grass, he would definitely
have met the ball.
Yeah. So this is how quick the ball was. So definitely to happen, the atmosphere, the pitch will play a role on you, and you're like he said earlier on, I'm starting a game. It's a natural thing that happens to any player.
It is.
Especially on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
Where I've been to camp, I always come in as a substitute, but today I'm getting
the responsibility is mine.
Play.
Yeah.
Where maybe my senior man who always guide me is not behind me. We feel like we are all kind of amateur playing behind you. You feel like you have a huge responsibility behind you. Then on such occasions, if you are not careful as a technical team, players will come out with boots they prefer to wear, but not the one comfortable or used with the grass. So somebody might gifted him a new boot, and you feel like using it, but the pitch always determines. So we need to look at that particular the cleats you wear is
Coach,
very.
I'm glad that you made this point. The quality of the pitches.
Yes, the quality of the pitches.
Over a period of time, we've all been, worried, and we've all been asking, how do we get the best of pitches for our players? Because in this part of the world, I'm not sure whether a lot of the hybrid type of pitches exist. Maybe because of their weather too, it also plays a contributory factor. Now here is where the cross comes in from the Nigerians from the right. Sweet build-up it was. Gideon was completely beaten and then picked his spot. Now as he took the cross, you realize that Razak Simpson was on his way back.
Yes.
But then there was a little bit of a swerve, lost his balance.
So that is where, that was an effect of an agility, his agility and balancing. So there was a little bit of poor coordination.
Okay.
That comes as a result of the sort of pitches you are using. With our type of pitch, the ball would not be as fast as he was.
Yes.
So he could have easily recovered and picked that particular ball. Those are things we clap over. But once they go out there, it easily exposes them.
It's a different ball
and
game.
we feel they are not good. No, not that he wasn't good on the day.
Yeah.
But that's the reaction. So let me take you back to 2006 when we played Italy in that first game.
Yes.
We had big guys playing in Europe, but they met a pitch they were not used to, and nobody even advised them. So most of them are putting on boots. That was not allow them to perform very well on that particular pitch. So it affected us in the first game, especially in the first half, if you remember that game very well.
Yeah.
Because that particular grass is a grass, but it's as hard as a solid wall.
Oh, okay.
So you need some amount of water. So it's the reason why the coach who goes for the warm-up and everybody must be able to have the knowledge about what is happening to the coaches. Then we communicate to the organizers. Then come back to our players and communicate to our players that with this, maybe the 4 stores will not help you.
Yeah.
Another example I'll give was Diego Fulham in Manchester. When Sir Alex Ferguson told him that my strikers were long stores. Because there's a way they massage these parks. Okay. You know, it started with Arsenal.
Okay.
They have a massage session for the park.
Okay.
Where the park is massaged and tuned to the speed of the ball. Wow. So when Diego Fulham came, then Ferguson said around the goal scoring area, it's handled in a special way. So put on long stores. Okay. So if you check, there's what we call the West Miss on Diego Fulham. Because he was using the shorter stores. So such games, you need to pay attention to details.
Yes.
Once you pay attention to details, you'll be able to take those minor mistakes out. So, like you say, it could be a result of that. And especially when he came in the game after committing that error, then let's say an own goal.
Yeah.
Naturally, a local player of your type will go down. But he was able to stay on his feet and came back into the game.
That's one of the points that really helped because he was able to, lift himself up.
So I think the pitch will be something. We'll later go deeper on the hybrid you are saying. It could be war here. We'll also grow up here, but we'll just be lazy sometimes approaching it.
All right. So Trinidad and Tobago are coming up next. They also had quite a game against the Jamaicans. And at first, everyone was of the opinion that with the kind of speed that Jamaica started the game and managed to get a first goal, it obviously will unsettle Dwight York and his colleagues. But hey presto, they came back strong, pulled the 2 goals, and it was obviously heading towards the penalties when that goal was scored, the last goal through the penalty kick. That was the first goal by the Jamaicans. Easy goal there. The Panenka was as cheeky as it comes. But then after that, Jamaica thought they were riding high with a lot of concentration. Palmer did well to get that goal. Nicely done. What a cheek, if you ask me. Anyway, but that was the confidence the Jamaicans adapted to playing that game, playing against Trinidad and Tobago. They beat them by 3-2. And any moment from now, we'll be joining the action at Brentford. But let's take a look again at this opportunity. What a goal. Lovely bicycle kick by Burrell. Right on cue, right on point. And again, by virtue of the fact that there's a lot more consternation among the Jamaican players, and so the adaptation was easy. But what should we fear, Josiah, of TNT?
I think it's...
What kind of threat
it's the speed.
Do they have?
It's the speed for me, especially in the third half. And, they play identical football as the Jamaicans. The Caribbeans have got the style about them. Very synonymous to the South American style of play. And you can see the flair with which they play. And one of the things they also add to their game, aside the flair and the speed, is some sort of physicality. And you can see it in the Jamaicans. And I believe that's why they have a poor head-to-head against the Jamaicans, because the Jamaicans possess so much quality and they have most of their players playing in some top leagues in Europe as compared to the Trinidad and Tobagans, who you wouldn't find most of them. I think one of their most experienced players plays in the League 2. That's for Stevenage in England. So you can see that there's this disparity as far as quality is concerned. But Prince, you look at the goals they scored on the day and just look at this free kick. And all the goals they scored were top-notch goals. They were quality goals. And, after the first game, I came to believe that we were in for a treat. The whole Unity Cup was going to give us so many great moments. Because you look at the quality of goals the Jamaicans scored themselves and how they were able to maneuver their way from 2 down to 2-2. And if not for that lapse in concentration in the dying embers of the game, Prince, they would have forced the penalty shootout. And perhaps it would have been a different narrative. But like I was saying, I think Dwight York really understands, the players and the materials he has. And you look at a team ranked 100th in the world in the Coca-Cola FIFA rankings, and you don't expect them to be playing the way they are playing. They are playing some exciting, very swift football. Even when they go with a 3-back system, you still find players, adapting to it. And the way they switch, even in between games, Prince, is something that is exciting to watch. And I believe going into this game today, if we are not careful with our defense, because it looks like we lose concentration, at certain intervals. Look at how they just attack the box. You have about 6 players in Jamaican shirts in the box, and they still manage to find a way to hit a clean shot. It tells you that they are very, very good whenever they attack. Yes, they lack quality sometimes. Sometimes they just try to cower in their shells. They do not want to come out. But if you force them to, they will. And I think the Jamaicans really pushed them to the wall, and it caused them to react. And that was when we saw the best out of them. So I do not think Ghanaians should go to sleep, or the Black Stars would have to go to sleep like they did against Nigeria, because this is a team that has rallied from 2 down before. And if you put yourself in that same situation, Prince, I think you'll be punished for it.
They would be punished for it. I agree with you 100%. This is no time for slacking. This is no time to go to sleep. Their first 11 for the senior national team, the Black Stars, is out. We'll share that with you as we get closer to kickoff. But for this morning's game, Coach Otuado has made a couple of changes. So let's see how the team looks like, and we'll